The most affordable automobile in Nissan's lineup recently received an update, and now it's chock full of new tech and, well, updates that you don't necessarily expect to see in this segment. This is the 2023 Nissan Almera VL. Now, on this episode of Behind the Wheel, we'll go through and show you the features and updates that Nissan has put in this subcompact, show you how it works, and how exactly it fits in your day-to-day life. And of course, we'll go through the rest of the automobile to find out just exactly where it slots in with the competition at its new price. New price indeed, because before the update, the Almera VL N Sport was available at 1,098,000 Philippine pesos. Now, with a quick look on the AutoDeal app, you'll see that the price has changed and also its name, because the N Sport is now known as the VL with Nissan Connect, and that is available at 1,149,000 Philippine pesos, a difference of 51,000 Philippine pesos for that name with Nissan Connect. Why? Well, we'll show you that in just a bit. Let's start with the exterior of the automobile. The Almera gets most noticeably an update on its front clip. It now has the latest iteration of Nissan's V-Motion design, and it's much more imposing than the previous Almera. And there's really a lot of textures going on here. It adds, well, presence to what is quite really a small car. Down the side, you've got 16s on 55 series tires, which elevate it to 135 millimeters of ground clearance. Disc brake up front, drum at the rear. Stopping power is more than enough for this automobile because it's not really all that heavy. Now, it is a two-tone, but you only get a two-tone for the top of the line. Speaking of top of the line, this color is also available only on the top of the line, which is, it's called Moon Gray. It may look white from where you're looking at it right now, but there is somewhat of a grayish tinge to it, and I like it. My daughter would be quite impressed with this color. Her and all her chartreuse and whatever other fancy names that she has for colors. Repeaters on the side mirror and a camera on the side, which is part of your 360. Now, the rear remains mostly unchanged. So does the rest of the shape of the automobile and how it kind of looks like a dart. It's kind of cut square here at the back and then sharp up front. The back, you open her up, it's not a power tailgate, and it's not the biggest of, let's say, for example, openings, as you might think, because it doesn't fit a balikbayan box. But that's not the impressive part about it. See, what you're looking at right now is 474 liters of space. Now, for a car of this size, man, that is just absolutely huge. It's got 100 liters more than, let's say, the Vios, but it doesn't have as much space as the City, because that has like 500 plus. So if you're looking for cargo space, you might want to look at the City. But for this size, my good, look at that! Jeez, that's huge. I can fit Jack in there.
Nope, not doing it.
Come on, dude, let's try.
No.
Come on, let's try.
No.
Come on. Come on. Look at that. Jack, hey dude, are you claustrophobic? When you get into the rear seats, the backrest is sort of leaning back a bit more than you'd expect, and the headrest is quite a bit far back, so when you do lean back, it may actually put you to sleep. The headroom is nothing spectacular. That's a bit compromised, but the legroom is actually pretty good. That is my normal driving position, and I can even cross my legs, no issues there. The tunnel in the center is manageable. It's not very high, it's there, but because of the size of the automobile, putting a third person in the middle might be an issue, right? You don't have a lot of space. And besides, the backrest of the third passenger kind of protrudes a little bit. However, when you're only two, the thing that protrudes is actually a center armrest with 2 cup holders. And then you also have bottle or cup holders that are found on the door that are pretty deep, even for this cup. Sadly though, there are no air vents for the rear passengers and there's only one USB charging point. But at the very least, there are ISOFIX anchors that are found for the rear, and the seats, Well, the material of the leather is such that you can get easily in and out of the automobile without any issues. I mean, even seniors will have an easy time. Jump into the driver's seat, and the first thing that you're really going to notice is this blue leather that's found in the middle of the dashboard. I love it. It's not bright, it's not out of place, it's subtle, and that looks so darn good inside this automobile. I absolutely love how Nissan has done that. Now, in the previous model, before the update, I mentioned that I didn't actually enjoy the steering wheel of the Almera. Now it does feel so much better. I mean, you do spend 95 to 98% of your time with your hands on the steering wheel. The other 2% is holding Jack's hand. So you want to be able to be as comfortable, that's true, Jack. You want to be as comfortable as possible when you're driving. You've got buttons on your steering wheel. The horn could use some help. I'm going to turn it and start the engine now just very quickly. It's not a very move out of my way horn. No. Anyway.
Bagay sa'yo.
Wow. Hassle ka, Chong, hassle ka. In front of you is your speedometer, which is analog, and then you've got a small, or rather quite large trip computer up on the left side, which can be your tachometer, your fuel gauge, your fuel consumption, and your trip meter, all in that particular space right there. And it's colored too, so you can see anything and everything that you need without actually having to break your vision. In the center, you've got an 8-inch touchscreen infotainment system with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. I love the way that it's integrated very, very well into the dash. Nissan does this quite well. You can see that the same integration happens in their larger automobiles like the Terra and of course the Navara. It's integrated very, very well. I like it. And I also like the fact that you can get to your air controls and your audio immediately. There's a knob for it that Jack obviously absolutely loves. The one thing that we wish was included inside this automobile would be wireless Apple CarPlay and or wireless Android Auto. It does, however, have wireless charging, which is great, and that's found just below your 12-volt socket and your USB charging with an auxiliary port right there. In the center, you do have cup holders. They're not very big, but they can hold tall. How many coffees do you drink in a day, Jack? Seriously. There's 2 there, and then there's also 1 on the door. Now, the other big change inside this automobile would be this, an SOS button found here in the center, which everybody in the automobile should be able to get to in case something happens. Now, what this does is that it connects you to Nissan services where they can help you if you are in dire need of a road assistance or if you're in the middle of an emergency and whatnot. I would like to demonstrate by pressing this button. However, I've already done it in the past and I would like to reserve that really for proper emergencies. But because I was silly enough to do it when the car first launched, a video of it is actually can be found of me pressing this and speaking to someone. The link is somewhere down below for when we actually did that particular thing. Now, one of the biggest changes inside this car is the upgrade of the tech. Now, it did have forward collision warning and autonomous braking, and that still has it inside this car. But it now has blind spot monitoring, lane departure warning, and lane keep assist. And I must add that unlike other systems out there that have lane keep assist, it's a bit intrusive, whereas it kind of pulls you back to the center. I like it better here with Nissan because it sort of like just vibrates the steering wheel to let you know that you're departing your lane without using your indicators.
Which you should.
Which you should. Don't be a BMW. So, and when it does so, when it alerts you, it doesn't pull you back. It vibrates, much like just your phone. So it's a lot less intrusive, and it allows me as the driver who likes control of the automobile to have full control of the car as well. So I like that. I prefer it here. The other really, really huge change is the addition of Nissan Connect services. Not just the SOS button, but what you have on your phone. Nissan Connect services allows you to interact with your automobile in more ways that you could imagine. Off the top of my head, the one thing that really hits home is my wife constantly asking me if I've locked the car, and my response all the time is, of course, yes, I have. She always asks me because, of course, I never do. With the app, I can now check if indeed I have locked the automobile and can actually lock the car if I haven't from anywhere in the world. Not just the Philippines, but anywhere in the world. Another is the restrictions that you can add to your automobile if, let's say, for example, it's being driven by somebody other than you, a family member or a friend. One such restriction is the proximity in where you can drive the automobile and how fast you drive the automobile. You can set a perimeter wall, an electronic perimeter wall, and a speed limit as well. Now, it is very important to note that if that person driving exceeds that perimeter and that speed limit, the car isn't automatically going to shut down, like close up, much like Jack when you're trying to talk about his feelings. Not going to penetrate that. It will just report back to you that the car has actually passed that perimeter and that speed limit. Think of it as one of the most comprehensive report cards you've ever known, and it's all in the palm of your hand. Then there's also the fact that you can find your automobile anywhere it is, from wherever it is that you are. You could be on the other side of the planet and you'll still be able to know where your car is exactly. Then there's also the fact that you can start the car. Let's say, for example, it's a hot day, you want the aircon running before you hop in. Just start the engine from your app and boom, you're as good as gold. It might scare the people around you, but then at least they'll keep their distance from your beautiful automobile. There's a lot more for the app to do, and I'm sure you'll find all the information that you need on our web pages, autodeal.com.ph. Just before we go on a drive, I would like to once again thank everyone out there for helping us reach 500,000 subscribers. We really couldn't have done it without any of you guys. We also have a small little montage thanking everyone with our 500,000 subscribers. If you haven't yet, do subscribe because we create all these videos just for you guys. Let's see if we can start the engine. Oh! Up front, you've got a 1-liter 3-cylinder turbocharged gasoline engine mated to a CVT that produces not a lot of horsepower. It's only 99, but the torque is something else because that's at 152. In Jack's terms, the torque would be quite a lot of torque. In my terms, that'd be it's got some pull. In Tito Boy's terms, pwede pang arangkada. Now, if Tito Boy grew up in the United States, specifically the West Coast, then it would be, ooh, it's got good arrancada.
Huh? Where did that come from?
Where's your sense of humor? So it's got a lot of torque, obviously, and that pulls somewhat down the low end of the rev range. So on a flat surface, when you're, let's say, for example, on the highway, and you want to get going, there's a lot of pull to get you up to speed. It's at the top of the rev range where it starts to taper off. After all, there is only 99 horses. So when you need more speed, that's when it kind of slows down. It will reach 100 kilometers per hour, no doubt. It's just that it takes some time. Which, by the way, is pretty much expected for any car in this category, whether you're talking about this or the City or the Vios, because let's face it, these cars aren't exactly built for speed. The CVT is, well, as CVTs are, there's still a little bit of a pause before you actually get going. So when you step on the accelerator, there is a good amount of noise from the engine and the power is spooling up. But unlike other CVTs, it doesn't necessarily sit down, have a cup of tea, and then decide to go, let's go. It's actually a step faster than most that I'm used to. And then to bring it back around, there's also a lot of help from the generous amount of torque that you find in the engine. Although I do have a gripe with the CVT. See, unlike others where you have paddles to shift to plus or minus to be able to control it to put power when you need it, in here you don't have that. So you have no other option, but if you're slowing down because you need more power, you need to pop it into low gear to activate it and to get going a little bit more. Come on, come on. Now, I know a lot of people would have had some reservations on the size of the engine from the very first time this car was launched, because it is, after all, only a 1-liter. Truth be told, Gino drives motorcycles that have engines much larger, or the liter capacity larger than this car. But the good thing there is that it's plenty capable when you're talking about fuel efficiency. Hear me out. Inside the city, and I'm talking about kill me now traffic, like it's not moving, where you can get out of the car, have breakfast first, jump back in, and you haven't moved an inch kind of traffic. This thing was able to do 9.5 kilometers per liter. And that's ridiculous traffic. And I know anybody that lives in Metro Manila knows what it is exactly that I'm talking about. On the highway, that's when the legs really start to shine. Oh my goodness. Because this can achieve over 26 kilometers per liter. What? Ride comfort is about par for the course for this subcompact. It's decent on paved roads. Bumps are felt quite abruptly inside the automobile, but the comfort for the driver is actually pretty good. You're also spoiled a little bit, just ever so slightly, because there are some niceties in here that you didn't expect. Like for instance, this rear view mirror. It's borderless, man. It's gorgeous. I love it. It's just you don't expect it inside this car at this price point. And another is I love the fact that there are quarter windows on this automobile. Yes, I love it, because then your view is so much better, and it doesn't make the A-pillars feel so large when you're driving. So whether you're a tall driver or a short driver, no jokes, then you can see the road without any problems. NVH is actually pretty good. The 1 liter, I expected a bit more harshness to it, especially when you're standing still. But no, it does a lot better than other 1 liters that are available out there. The engine noise is quiet, very quiet at a standstill. There's a slight murmur, obviously, when you're trying to hit higher speeds. The tire noise is contained quite well, not overly well, just quite well, considering that the tires on this automobile are not only just 55 series, but they're also eco tires. So well done, Nissan. Now, while the totality of the drive really hasn't changed, the biggest changes inside this automobile would be the tech, and nothing to be dressed outside. However, I will argue that if a car company were to increase its prices, I would much rather see changes in tech and driver aids inside the automobile than anything that you can see outside, which is just going to be determined as flashy. The problem is, some people may still have a bit of a setback when it comes to the price of the automobile. If you head on over to our website, autodeal.com.ph, and try our Comparo tool by putting this car up against the other 2 cars that we mentioned, which is the City and the Vios, you'll see that, well, it's not exactly the most affordable one out there, because the Toyota Vios GRS comes in at 1,055,000 Philippine pesos. The City RS comes in at 1,128,000 Philippine pesos, while this tops out at 1,149,000 Philippine pesos. Now, not just because of its price and what it offers. I'm not saying that this is the pound for pound king when it comes to that Comparo. In fact, I've got some reservations on it because I don't like the way that it's too darty. I'd like it a little bit rounder. But I think that the price difference there is, well, negligible because of 2 very large factors. Number 1 is that it is so fuel efficient. I've never really seen anything like it. Number 2, you've got the Nissan Connect services inside this car. And really, you can't put a price on peace of mind and convenience, can you? What you can put a price on are the promos that are available for this particular model. Not just the entry models, mind you. Nope, even this top-end VL with Nissan Connect. So head on over to autodeal.com.ph, try the Get Quote button, which will bring you that much closer to getting your new car.